Niall Horan discusses his admiration for Blake Shelton, respect for his former bandmates, and his ambitious new album, The Show. The leap from boy band glory to solo stardom is infamously difficult, but Niall Horan made it seem simple with his 2017 debut album Flicker. The Irishman built himself his own artistic identity by eschewing the pop of One Direction in favor of earthier, singer-songwriter fare, one hit at a time. When Heartbreak Weather by 29-year-old Horan was released, the COVID-19 pandemic had just begun, so marketing for the song abruptly came to an end. For the first time in a decade, the pop sensation had time on his hands, so he turned inward and began writing the show. Horan lays his emotions naked as he discusses love and the responsibilities of adulthood on his third album, which is available on Capitol Records on June 9th. The hitmaker reflects, "I probably wouldn't have written any of those songs if I had done this album 4 years earlier. The pandemic was an excellent opportunity for me to consider everything that had occurred up to that point." After the pain of his abandoned sophomore project subsided, Horan unwillingly went back to the studio. "I had just written 1,000 songs, so I didn't do anything for a lot of the early pandemic," he recalls. He eventually sat down at the piano and composed the album's lead song. The show would go on to define the tone of the entire project with its reflective lyrics and quirky, alternative-leaning music. Horan says of the song, "I wanted to say things I hadn't said before, recognizing that exhilarating highs and heartbreaking lows are inescapable aspects of being human. Writing a song like that prompts you to consider additional things for which you should be grateful." Additionally, it inspired him to be more candid and sensitive about his worries and fears in the remaining songs on the album. He admits, "I guess it is quite contemplative, but there's also fun stuff in there." Darkness and light frequently collide, as on Horan's brand new track Meltdown, a hard-rocking pop song with a catchy chorus that also describes Horan's battle with anxiety. The hitmaker had never ventured into more dangerous territory, so he sought advice from New Zealand producer Joel Little. "I've always been a huge fan of Joel's work," says Horan of the Grammy winner who has collaborated with notable artists like Lorde and Taylor Swift. Little received a demo of the show from Horan's A&R, and soon after that, they were on the phone talking. According to Horan, "We both agreed on the song's sound. I just had a feeling he was the one." Together, they gave his sound an alt flourish, as is evident in the anthem-like lead single Heaven. "There is undoubtedly a more diverse strategy than we likely would have had in the past," according to Horan. Another excellent illustration of that is the single You Could Start a Cult, which gained popularity when the tracklist first surfaced. "That title was flying around," he chuckles. "I cherish the notion of creating a love song with an odd, ominous title." Horan finds the fans' somewhat worried reaction amusing. "Everybody was asking, 'What the fuck is this?' People already believe that I am building a cult before they have even heard it." Spoiler alert, he isn't. Horan is happy to be defying expectations, but he is wary of deviating too far from his trademark sound. The #1 artist acknowledges, "I clearly compose music for me, but I never aim to alienate. I want the viewers to have fun." In the end, Horan sees the show as a fresh and intriguing chapter in a much bigger narrative. "This is just a nice progression," he remarks. "Nothing in there would scare folks away," she said. Horan has spent his entire adult life carrying the burden of expectations after growing up in the spotlight, and it never gets any easier. He says, "It's terrifying, man, but I'm not afraid of a little hard work. I work on the songs for a year or more, so I want the best result I can get." Horan is nonetheless aware that he can only do so much because of his intelligence. When asked if the popularity of his One Direction bandmates puts more pressure on him to release solo music, Horan takes a moment to gather his thoughts. "I don't think so," he replies. "Everyone makes different kinds of music available." Horan actually comes across as sincerely happy for his former friend's achievements. "It makes a terrific gift for a buddy. There is an unbreakable tie there, and we are always there for one another." Horan's time with One Direction has been useful since he agreed to become a coach for the most recent season of The Voice. After all, Simon Cowell served as the band's coach on the UK's The X Factor, hence, the performance represented a complete circle event. He says, "It's pretty bizarre. Do I want to delve back into that? I thought to myself, isn't that a memory from my earlier years? But after that, I said, fuck it. It'll make you laugh so hard." It ended up being a wise choice. Horan says, "I've really loved choosing the songs, working with the artist, and going to rehearsals. Making insanely difficult decisions and holding people's futures in my hands have not been enjoyable." He has consulted seasoned trainer Blake Shelton in moments of uncertainty. "I knew I was going to get along with the guy the second I met him," recalls Horan. He doesn't give a fuck and is absolutely hilarious. After his obligations with The Voice are up, Horan will go on a 30-plus date U.S. tour that will begin on May 29, 2024 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. "It's the best part of what we do," he claims. "There is no pleasure that compares to going out there every night, experiencing that thrill, playing your own compositions, and having them performed back to you. Horan appears anxious when asked how he plans to fit the material from 3 albums into a 90-minute performance. "It will be a dynamic setlist," he says. "The typical arena performance lasts, 90 minutes. There are roughly 20 songs left over. I will thus practice too many songs and then choose some as we go." Horan vows to deliver highlights from his expanding collection of meticulously made pop songs, while the show will predominate the setlist. "Please buy a ticket," I ask in a public service announcement to those who enjoy my album.